Hello everybody, Travis here recording for Tpull's Corner, and we have a Premade deck, yet another different Premade deck from Wizards. They've been doing this a lot lately. This is for Midweek Magic. So if you're new to Tpull's Corner, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And we always ask you to hit the like button. And I guess we can just exile that now, right away. I don't normally use Soul Partition myself. But we're kind of flooding out. Do we need more black or blue or white in this deck? I think more blue. And they give us Terror of Tawashi to deal with. Let's do a Soul Partition on that one as well. So there's 5 Premades right now for this event. And it's only going to go on for, what, like a day and a half by the time I get to it? And I chose the deck Azorius Control because at first blush, you're looking at things like Soul Partition, and they can bring stuff back. We just have to bring it back later is all. Let's see. I can bring the One Ring down now. And I get protection from everything, which is cool. They know it's not worth attacking. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could get 4 more cards. Yeah, I think I should go get 4 more cards right now. Let's refill our hand. Well, that's a lot of land up front. Basically, they've got enough to start bringing stuff out of Soul Partition. And I have nothing on the One Ring yet. So they paid the extra for that. If I do this to you again, it still just puts it up to 6. There's no real increase there. It's just more of the same. So you basically tapped out, right? You can't bring anything else out, so let's go ahead and use some of this stuff. You can put it on the top or bottom of your library. And Death Touch is irritating, so let's see if they put this on the top or bottom. Maybe they don't mind putting it... No, they want them both. Okay. And let's see what else we have coming up. Ooh, Sunfall. I think Sunfall's probably a good choice right about now. And we passed the turn. If they want, they can sacrifice the Terror to get rid of the ring itself. They don't do that. And I think it's time for me to activate that. And I get more land. Still kind of 50% land draw. How much damage can I afford to take here? 3, 4, 5. Let's start off with the Conundrum of Bowls. Let's see what we get. Union of the Third Path. Okay, so if they choose to pump up Misery's Shadow, I think we just go ahead and get rid of all 3 of these now. I don't like the pumpable effect of those. And that finally gives me a creature. And we're back to the reruns of the stuff I got rid of earlier. And let's do Union of the Third Path again and get some life. And then we're going to bring down a whale. Since it's my turn, it won't be tapped. And I don't have anything better to do, so let's draw a couple cards. Do we have to worry about milling ourselves out with this one? They don't mind drawing through their deck either. Now the Scatter Rays come up. Scatter Rays are kind of... I have 4 of these in the deck. I think that's too late for those. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see what's going on with this. Count the number of cards in your hand. You can cast blah blah blah. That didn't look like it worked. Should we do this again? Let's do this again. Oh, that's excellent. That's perfect timing. Let's see. Lord Skitter, I don't want them to do any graveyard hate. Let's get rid of 3 more. And I can afford to go ahead and activate this little puppy. And run over and tap him real quick. So it looks like Sunfall is your main control condition, really. That's 2 board wipes, and they're still outnumbering me on creatures in a single turn. Okay, so I have 2 Scatter Rays now. What do we want to do with all this? I feel like it's a good time to attack. Isn't it always a good time to attack? Beseech the Mirror. I'm going to just return that to your hand. And I'll draw a card. You want to try it again? Oh, this is going to be fun. They'll definitely put that on the top of the library. And then I can bring this puppy down. Another removal. How about you put that card on top of your deck again as well? I love it! We can cast a spell without paying any price. Sweet! That was kind of cool. And we do this, and we do this.
The entire multiverse is at stake. I won't back down.
Probably should have done that part first.
Nobody knows the
whatever.
best better than me.
So far, we just have to watch our health with how the One Ring interfaces with it. Sure. You have to pay the ward cost on that. That's 2. And now you only have 5 mana left, which helps us here. You can't pay for that. And you can't do Beseech the Mirror now. You don't have enough. And the One Ring's synergy with the spirit of the little spirit token that we get of Teferi is going to be awesome. So here we draw a card.
There is much the past can teach us.
Here we draw some cards. I'm going to use that. That's a lot. And is there anything else we want to... Ooh, I need to get more life. Sweet! And we can get rid of our life problem by putting down another One Ring and keeping the new one without any counters. And what else can we do? We can do this while we're here. Oh, look at all these control conditions we can get. I think it's time to end. Let's end things. Thanks to our opponent for sticking in there. They could have scooped right away when they saw we had lethal, but they let me play with as many of the toys as I could. Alright, I'm not sure when this thing started recording, so let me repeat what I said at the very beginning, just in case it didn't catch it. Hang on, let me see what card I got first. Zenith Chronicler! Okay. In the meantime, we'll go in here. My name is Travis, you're at Tpull's Corner, and this is Midweek Magic Alchemy Ladder Deck Showcase. So what they did was, instead of what they normally do, they usually just have an event and it doesn't count for anything. Here they say take these constructed decks that they've made, test them out on the actual Alchemy ladder. So we're playing where it counts, we're playing in ranked. And we have 5 different decks from which to choose, and I chose Azorius Control. And I hope you'll bear with me for one more match, because I'm having fun. I'll go in and dissect the entire deck after this one. But I've played a couple of the others. The monocolor soldier deck didn't perform as well as I thought it would. The artifact deck did excellent. And this is probably a mirror match, right? What do we need for these? We need 3 of these. Okay, so we'll do this now and not show them that we have it. And this is very common for control decks now, is to have 1 or 2 Mirexes in the deck, just so if nothing else, they can create a bunch of 1/1s when that is a mana sink, whenever they have enough. And I think we just go ahead and create that now. And see if this sort of first mover advantage helps us at all. If things get bad enough, they might have to waste Sunfalls just on the 1/1 tokens. And if we're concentrating on Toxic, we don't care how much life they gain. They get their own Mirex, though. That's 8. This is kind of not going well for us. Let's go ahead and seek. We're gonna have to discard something unless they counterspell this. Yes, okay. They use Reprieve and draw a card. We get to attack. And I don't want to put that on the top. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a token, right? It'll disappear. And then I'm going to get rid of a soul partition. They bring that out already. They got that fast. Alright, Sunfall it is. Let's try this again. See if they have another reprieve. I have a reprieve too. Let's put my own spell back there first. Does that make yours fizzle and you don't get a card draw? They have an impulse anyway. So they still get a card out of things. We get to draw. They do not get to draw. We actually fizzled their reprieve. That makes up for me having to discard a card earlier. And they actually already have enough land to handle... Let's see, they could cast it, but they couldn't pay the scatter ray cost if they had another whale. They need to have 4 instead of 2. The One Ring comes out instead, even though I don't really have much in the way to attack them or hurt them. But they're going to go for the card draw. Okay. Let's go for Teferi now. Reprieve again? No, it goes.
Faced with tragedy, even observers need to take action. Who's that handsome devil?
This is an expensive deck, so you can't really complain about getting all the lands. I've actually, relatively speaking, I've been starved in this game so far. There has to be something useful in there, right? No? All we have are these 1/1s that we can create. They throw away the extra land. And our draw mechanic is going to start working for us. 3, 4, 5, 6, so it doesn't hurt us to draw one more.
Much to consider.
And we can finally try Conundrum of Bulls again. And we actually get to seek a card. So it's going to be mana value 5 or less. What do we get? We get a land. Alright. They don't have anything that's got, like, haste, right? And they can't bring down the Flash Whale now. But they can bounce something, right? Okay, so, token goes away. I haven't gotten one of my One Rings yet. They got their own Conundrum of Bulls. I hope they got a land like I did. How are they doing on cards? 34 to my 41. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go ahead and try this spell. See if they're going to use another reprieve or not. They do not.
It's nice to see a familiar face.
Let's go hit them for 1 point. You'll accept that, won't you? Yes, you will. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not going to work. See, we don't have to worry about the ward cost if you're still just a spell. Sunfall. Do we care about Sunfall? I don't think so. I think that's okay. Okay, third chapter. I like having scatter array. Count the number of 3 for. So I had 7. I needed 6 in order to cast the spell for free. It's got to be exact. So I kind of whiffed on that.
Nobody knows the past better than me.
We're not going to do anything. We're a control deck. We're going to sit here. What are you going to do? In the turn. They finally remember they have a Mirrex. Okay, so they have 6. So if they have a whale, can they cast the whale without any... No, they don't. They just have their second Mirrex now. So they still don't like what they got. They go digging again. Maybe we can make them mill themselves out. Sure. I have one of those too. Union, that's fine. Seven cards and you're not going to do anything about that. Okay, let's try this one. Reprieve. No, no, no. See, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do reprieve on my own and draw a card and make yours fizzle. Just like I did last time. No. That one... Let's say, hang on. Which one are you doing that one on? My original? No, no, no. See, I'm going to do that on my original. I'm going to get 2 cards out of this. Torch of Fairy takes a hit.
Oh, you caught me this time.
Let's go ahead and draw a card this time.
I am here to learn.
And... Conundrum? Sure. It summons another land. Gross. They're still like 4 lanes ahead of me. And they are digging unafraid into their deck. See, I would want a Field of Ruin to get rid of their Mirrex. Who builds decks these days without having at least one Field of Ruin? They're going to pass with 9 cards in their hand. 34 for me, 22 for them. We will try this spell. I've used up all the reprieves, right? They don't have a regular counterspell for this anymore. Soul Partition on their own One Ring. Okay. That gets rid of their life loss, and they can start that over again if they feel like. Or they could just leave it exiled. Maybe they just want to slow down their card draw at this point. I've got a new problem. Now they have 2 Myrixes and way more land than me. They can just create a bunch of 1/1s now. That alone may decide some of this. They still have to discard a card. That's okay. They have tons of extra land, don't they? There's nothing left that's of greater mana value in my deck. So that did not help.
Knowledge is meant to be shared.
3, 4, 5, 6. I do have 4 if I want to pay for that, but 3, 4. I've got 2 lands that I can spare, right? I feel like I should be doing my own draw by now. If I do 3, 4, 5, I could cast the whale for free next turn. Okay, I'm gonna skip here. You bring that down. Oh, no, there's a scatter ray for you. We made good on that, but now we can't cast one for free ourselves. That should whiff, right? Because they have so many cards. There's nothing bigger enough for Chapter 2 that's greater than the cards in their hand. They bring down the One Ring again? To draw through the rest of your deck again? I think that we've gone through 2 Sunfalls already for them, right? So they've got 2 more left. And really what they need is a Teferi at this point. Speak of the devil. Okay.
The entire multiverse is at stake. I won't back down. Another
draw
mystery
yet again.
solved.
Let's see if I can flash this in. They've got to have a scatter ray available, right? Let's make them use one. Okay. Okay, they're tapped out, right? Alright. What can we do here? Come on. It doesn't want to let me, but I can still cast that. So how many cards do I want? Let's just do 5 should be enough. And that's kind of the timing we were waiting for, because this lets me get rid of their Teferi. And that's the one big advantage that I'm going to have over them now. And then
Just keeps
we can
getting
do that.
worse.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can do this. Did I not use Teferi when I was supposed to? Oh, we just need to discard 1 card. Okay. Hey. Make sure I click things right. Okay, they whiff on the 3rd chapter. Right, because they had nothing that was equal to 7 mana in their hand. They're down to 14 cards. And they're still ahead of me on the field by 4 lands. But I'm basically tapped out, so they can do what they want to me. But what do they have left? Soul Partition? More card draw. Okay. Okay, more card draw it is. Okay, Soul Partition. They're starting to run out of tools. They only have 1 land. They've got to get rid of how many cards? 4? Was that going to be 4 lands? It is. They had 4 lands. The One Ring's kind of cool. Okay, they waited for that.
Harder than it looks.
But you're tapped out. Yep. Okay. They had no tools left.
Battles I might not win.
We win the mirror match. Control mirror matches are long. Apologize if I didn't comment too much on that. I had to slow down and think. Sometimes I have to do that when I'm up against control. Alright, now you know how to beat control with control. That helps us win what we needed to for the 3 wins. And we get Restless Fortress card style. Alright. Alright, let me go in and show you this Azorius control deck. I don't know if I'll have time to get to the others. You have to leave a comment and let me know. I'm really interested in the 5-color Legends one, really. But I've been staying away from control, and at first blush when you look at this, it's kind of like, is this really going to work? It doesn't look like it should. It looks like it should be beat by the other decks. But I think we can do pretty well. So here's what we've got for... Let me go through the cards that are Alchemy only. Okay, overview. We've got only 4 creatures in the entire deck. Kind of expensive, 3.3 average. But they did give us 27 lands, which is why we don't have to worry about running short on mana. They didn't give us a Field of Ruin, but they did give us 2 Myrics. And so if all other things are equal, and we do have these 27 lands, we should be able to start making mites, and as an alternate win condition, go in and take care of them. The Alchemy cards, we've got 2 Captivating Crossroads. We can choose a color, and if it's during the first 3 turns of the game, it enters the battlefield tapped. If you were the starting player, that's kind of make up for the first player advantage. They got the Darkar Wastes in there, and these are 4 creatures. The Horned Lock Whale. No, that's not... Those are the 4 creatures. Why is that grayed out? That's weird. Okay, anyway, the adventure card, the Lagoon Breach, the owner of target attacking creature you don't control puts it on the top or bottom of their library. So it's great to get rid of tokens, and it's great to stall. So it fits in very nicely with the Azorius control kind of thing for a quick bounce. The Whale is kind of fun. He's flash with Ward 2. If you do get it down on the battlefield, that's when the Ward 2 starts. That's why I'm able to counter it without paying the Ward cast with my Scatter Ray. Right? Ward. It would be interesting, like if I had a chance to design a Magic card, I would design a card that has a ward on the casting cost. I wouldn't call it ward. I would call it like Spectral, Spectral Ward or something like that. But that's a card I think would make things interesting in to sort of make things tougher on counterspell decks. Because I think sometimes counterspell decks have it too easy. But I don't think that in the 30-year history of Magic, I don't think that they've put those kind of cards intrinsically onto a spell. They've done Can't Be Countered, which is its own problem, but not one that you just have to pay extra to make sure that it lands. But anyway, this is just regular ward, so once it's on the field, then they have to pay 2 extra mana to have any spell affect it. But it enters battlefield tapped unless it's your turn. So it's not one of those things like the others where you can flash it in at the end of the turn and then hit them for 6 right away. You can bring it in. If it's on their turn, it can't block, right? It'll automatically be tapped. and they'll have a chance to sort of see it and respond probably. All right, those are the 4 creatures. We've got the 1 Teferi, so we've got the 1 Planeswalker. For control, they've got 4 Sunfalls, which is needed. The exile all creatures and incubate, so this is another way you can get your creatures in. Conundrum of Bowls. This is the Alchemy card. Here we go. 2 copies of that. I like this card. Seek a card with mana value less than the number of cards in your hand, then seek mana value greater than the number of cards in your hand, and then count the number of cards in your hand. You can cast a spell with mana value equal to that number from your hand without paying its mana cost. Depending on what you have in your hand, a lot of these, at least, 1 or 2 of the chapters you could whiff on. So you sort of have to keep track of the number of cards in your hand and know what's left in your deck. So if you like to do the untapped stuff and have the statistics up on the left-hand side to sort of help you keep track of what you've cast and what's still yet to come up, that may be useful to you. But this requires a little bit of thought and calculation to make sure that you get maximum value out of it. We've got the 4 Union of the Third Path for your life gain, which will probably come in handy. And the 4 Reprieves, this is from the Lord of the Rings. So since it's Lord of the Rings is part of the Universes Beyond imprint, so it's not going to be standard legal. This has to go in with Alchemy in historical format. But the card itself, there's nothing too special about it. It could fit into Modern Standard easily by itself. It's just because it's unfortunate that Lord of the Rings has to fall under that Universes Beyond imprint. I think I would love for Lord of the Rings to just be a regular expansion that we could play with in Modern Standard. But whatever. This is another kind of a sort of bounce type of thing, like with the Lagoon Breach effect. It doesn't get rid of things permanently, but you saw in the mirror match, by strategically using these, we actually foiled some of their card draw by using it on our own spells, preempting theirs and basically making their spell fizzle. And we had enough room to do that. Soul Partition is another one that might look kind of weird because you exile the target non-land permanent, but the owner can still play. They just have to pay 2 more to get it down. So these are all like delaying tactics, right? You're going to bounce it, I put it on top of my library, I draw it again and play the creature. If I have enough mana, you put a creature back in my hand. If it's a creature spell, I can just cast it again the same turn. All you did was basically draw a card while I was putting down my creature. And Soul Partition, eventually I'm going to get more land and be able to get that creature back anyway. So these aren't regular counter spells in terms of what you think of in Control. They're not really powerful bounce spells. So you've got about a dozen spells here that are really temporary. But it's all gained just to give you that time. Impulse to dig into the deck and get you the other cards that you need. 2 Silver Scrutinies to give you a nice good card draw, again, to dig down and get you what you need. And 4 Scatter Rays that might or might not work depending on where you are in the game during the tempo. So it looks a little tenuous because really, what do we got? We got 4, 5, 6 that are really based on heavy card draw, some stalls that give you an additional card draw. You're really just trying to dig through your deck and get to these things, the 4 Sunfalls and Teferi. And of course, who can forget, also from Lord of the Rings, the One Ring, and you have 2 of them. Legendary artifact. It's indestructible itself. When it enters a battlefield, you can gain protection from everything until your next turn, and then you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. You get to choose how many burden rings go on it, and when you do it, you have to pay 1 mana and tap the artifact. But once you got a burden counter on it, then whenever you use it, you put a burden counter on it and you draw a card for each burden counter. So you tap it the first time, you're going to draw 1 card. If you never tap it again, you're going to lose 1 life at the beginning of each turn. If you tap it a second time, you're going to get to draw 2 cards. Tap it a third time, you get 3 cards, but then you're going to lose 3 life. So there is a cost with that, and will Union of the Third Path really offset that? You have to be careful. You have to watch your life. So that's the deck. Let's go ahead and see. Let's see. We played the mirror match. We played Golgari midrange. Let's see if we can hit one of the other 2 or the other 3 decks. We'll do one more. And we did the last week, the midweek magic was 5 Alchemy Premade decks. And then the Premades that we have that are staying around, the 10 permanent starter decks, are all Alchemy. So I've been doing a lot of Alchemy play, mostly just to showcase these decks for you all. I've sort of been setting aside my regular planned stuff. So this is sort of the full court press that Wizards of the Coast is doing to try and get you interested in Alchemy, right? Here's 10 Premades. You can use them whenever you want. They're good for Alchemy. Midweek Magic, it's an Alchemy event. Next week, Midweek Magic, it's an Alchemy event. Do we want to let that down? You know, it's early enough. Let's just do the card draw. We'll see how frustrated we can get them. Gwen is a really big help to them, so no. I wonder if we can make him scoop by turn 3. Go back. Still no Scatter Ray. Alright, let's do Impulse. Still no Scatter Ray. 3 lands. Gee whiz. I think it's time for a Sunfall. Did you draw a land? 3, 6, 7, 8? Oh no. I hate it when that happens. Well, at least I got through the explanation of the deck. The question is, now that we've got the connection back, is my opponent still there? Or were they not able to link back up? They're timing out. I guess we'll sit around for a minute and give them a chance and see if they're going to get back into it. From what I can tell, it's their turn and all of my stuff is working. So I think I'm still back in it. Can Bionic Baby, do they have to log back out and sign back on? Yeah, okay. Can I concede? It's not even going to let me concede? Alright. Technical problems. I hate it. Sorry, folks. This is all the time I have tonight, so we're going to end it here. Let me know what you think of this particular deck, and I do have a poll asking about the Alchemy Premades on my community page. So go to the community page. I'm always looking for more input from you on what you think of how they did this in terms of making these Premade decks for us. If they went too far, if they didn't go far enough, if it's helping, if any of these are sparking your interest in playing Alchemy or not, I'd like to know. So go ahead and leave a comment. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll have something different for you next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.